The scapegoat in dysfunctional families. In dysfunctional families with narcissistic dynamics, one of the most insidious roles assigned is that of the scapegoat. This child becomes the emotional dumping ground for the family's unresolved pain, shame, and rage. While this role is incredibly damaging, something deeply revealing happens when the scapegoat grows up, awakens, and finally breaks free. What unfolds when narcissistic parents lose their scapegoat is not only tragic, but also a powerful moment of truth for the entire family system. Who is the scapegoat in a narcissistic family? In a narcissistic family system, roles are rigid and serve to protect the image of the narcissistic parents. The golden child is idealized, the invisible child is neglected, and the scapegoat is blamed for everything that goes wrong. The scapegoat is often the most sensitive, intuitive, or emotionally intelligent child, qualities that threaten the narcissistic parent's fragile ego. Scapegoats are often independent thinkers who don't blindly comply, emotionally expressive or empathetic truth tellers who expose family dysfunction, the ones who challenge hypocrisy and demand accountability. As a result, they are punished, criticized, or emotionally abused for not playing the role. What happens when the scapegoat leaves or goes no contact? When the scapegoat finally sets boundaries, distances themselves, or goes no contact, it triggers a psychological and emotional crisis in the narcissistic parent, and often the entire family structure. Here's what typically happens. 1. Emotional chaos and identity crisis. The narcissistic parent may experience panic, rage, or even depression. Why? Because the scapegoat served an unconscious psychological function. They absorbed the narcissist's shame and rage, allowing the parent to preserve a false sense of superiority. Without a scapegoat, the narcissist may be forced to confront their own flaws, a process they deeply fear. Key insight: narcissists often lack self-reflection and emotional maturity. The scapegoat's absence removes their primary outlet for blame and projection, rewriting the narrative. To preserve their image, the narcissistic parent may begin rewriting history. They may paint the scapegoat as mentally ill, ungrateful, or dangerous. This often takes the form of a smear campaign, especially if the scapegoat left without explanation or exposed the dysfunction. Common tactics include telling other family members or friends the scapegoat is crazy, playing the victim to gain sympathy, recruiting flying monkeys, enablers to continue the emotional abuse, displacement of the role. In many cases, once the original scapegoat is gone, someone else, often a sibling, partner, or even a grandchild, is assigned the role. The narcissist cannot function without a target to project their internal shame and frustration onto. Warning: if you are the former scapegoat, witnessing this cycle repeat can be painful. But it's also confirmation that the problem was never you, it was the system. Desperate attempts to regain control. Some narcissistic parents may attempt to hoover the scapegoat back into the family system using guilt, manipulation, or feigned vulnerability. They may say things like, "I'm getting old, you'll regret abandoning me. You're breaking the family apart. No one else cares like you do." This is not love. This is control disguised as emotional need. Scapegoat's liberation and grief. For the scapegoat, leaving can feel both empowering and heartbreaking. While freedom from emotional abuse brings relief, it also comes with waves of grief. Grieving the family you never had. Mourning the childhood that was stolen. Facing guilt for abandoning even abusive relatives. This is normal. Healing from a narcissistic family system requires both emotional courage and self-compassion. Why narcissistic parents react so strongly. Narcissistic parents often see their children as extensions of themselves, not as separate individuals. The scapegoat challenges this illusion. When the scapegoat leaves, it triggers what psychologists call narcissistic injury, a perceived threat to the narcissist's false self. The result is often intense emotional dysregulation. They don't miss you, they miss controlling you. Final thoughts: you are not the villain. If you were the scapegoat, your healing is an act of radical self-respect. Breaking away from a toxic system isn't selfish, it's necessary. And though it may cause a temporary crisis in the family dynamic, it can also be the catalyst for transformation, both for yourself and for those who are willing to change. You are not the cause of your family's dysfunction. You do not owe anyone your silence or submission. Walking away can be the first step toward emotional freedom and authentic relationships. Resources for healing. Therapy with a trauma-informed or family systems specialist. Support groups for adult children of narcissists. SEON. Books like Will I Ever Be Good Enough by Dr. Carol McBride. Journaling. Inner child work and somatic practices for healing stored emotional pain.